Hello again. Good to be with you. Bill Pfeiffer speaking from Mary's Field. Again, press the like button, and you might want to subscribe and help others to do that. I hear it's an easier way of finding our podcast, so you don't have to wiggle around, but are able to go to it kind of more in a more direct way. Nice story that I want to share today. In the weeks before Christmas when I was teaching, I would share every day some kind of a story that would touch the kids' hearts and heads and have them to think in the right direction. And this is a story, it's in the first person I, but it's not really about me. Sometimes when I use this story, people thought I was telling something about myself, but it's really, it's not me, but a story about someone else and a nice story. I remember my first Christmas adventure with Grandma. I was just a kid. I remember tearing across town on my bike to visit her on the day my big sister dropped the bomb. "There is no Santa Claus," she jeered. "Even dummies know that." My grandmother was not the gushy kind, never had been. I fled to her that day because I knew she would be straight with me. I knew Grandma always told the truth, and I knew that the truth always went down a whole lot easier when swallowed with one of her world-famous cinnamon buns. I knew they were world-famous because Grandma said so. It had to be true. Grandma was home, and the buns were still warm. Between bites, I told her everything. She was ready for me. "No Santa Claus," she snorted. "Ridiculous. Don't believe it. The rumor that rumor has been going around for years, and it makes me mad, plain mad. Now, put on your coat and let's go." Go where, Grandma?" I asked, and I hadn't even finished my second world-famous cinnamon bun. Where turned out to be Kirby's General Store, the one store in town that had a little bit of just about everything. As we walked through the doors, Grandma handed me $10. That was a bundle of money in those days. "Take this money," she said, "and buy something for someone who needs it. I'll wait for you in the car." Then she turned and walked out of Kirby's. I was only 8 years old. I'd often gone shopping with my mother, but never had I shopped for anything all by myself. The stores seemed big and crowded, full of people scrambling to finish their Christmas shopping. For a few moments I just stood there confused, clutching that $10 bill, wondering what to buy. And who on earth to buy it for. I thought of everybody. My family, my friends, my neighbors, the kids at school, and the people who went to my church. I was just thought out when suddenly thought of Bobby Decker. He was a kid who had bad breath and messy hair, and he sat right behind me in Mrs. Pollock's second grade class. Bobby Decker didn't have a coat. I knew that because he never went out to recess during the winter. His mother always wrote a note telling the teacher he had a cough, but all we kids knew that Bobby Decker didn't have a cough. He didn't have a good coat. I fingered the $10 bill with growing excitement. I would buy Bobby Decker a coat. I settled on a red corduroy, one that had a hood on it. It looked real warm, and he would like that. "Is this a Christmas present for someone?" the lady behind the counter asked kindly as I laid my $10 down. "Yes, ma'am," I replied shyly. "It's for Bobby." The nice lady smiled at me as I told her about how Bobby really needed a good winter coat. I didn't get any change, but she put the coat in a bag, smiled again, and wished me a Merry Christmas. That evening, Grandma helped me wrap the coat in Christmas paper and ribbons and wrote, "To Bobby from Santa Claus" on it. A little tag fell out of the coat, and Grandma tucked it into her Bible. Grandma said that Santa always insisted on secrecy. Then she drove me over to Bobby Decker's house, explaining as we went that I was now and forever officially one of Santa's helpers. Grandma parked down the street from Bobby's house, and she and I crept noiselessly and hid in the bushes by his front walk. Then Grandma gave me a nudge. "All right, Santa Claus," she whispered. "Get going." I took a deep breath, dashed for his front door, threw the present down on the step, pounded his door, and flew back to the safety of the bushes and Grandma. Together, We waited breathlessly in the darkness for the front door to open. Finally it did, and there stood Bobby. 50 years haven't dimmed the thrill of those moments spent shivering beside my grandma in Bobby Decker's bushes. That night, I realized that those awful rumors about Santa Claus were just what Grandma said they were. Ridiculous. Santa was alive and well, and we were on his team. I still have the Bible with the coat tag tucked inside. $19.95. That's a beautiful story. You know, it gives us all the encouragement to think of others at this time of the year, to do something nice for other people. One of the things I would do with all of my students when I was a teacher or principal was ask them to question the motives why they were descending on the poor people in the big city with cans of tuna fish and pork and beans, and ask them why they were doing this. Were you doing this in order to be able to genuinely and lovingly help this poor person, or were you just doing it to make yourself feel better? And that's a kind of a selfish, self-centered, proud motivation for things. Christianity, being a good person, is all about motivation, isn't it? And I would force them to think about that. And one of the things I know when I was a teacher, I in a Catholic school, the students decided not to do that during Christmas unless they wouldn't also do it during January or February or March, when people get hungry in January, February, or March as well. And so we have to question our motives of why we do things. Is it really, truly because I have a heart and a caring for other people's needs and want to really help them? Or is it really something that just I do in order to make me feel nice and warm inside, which is really a very selfish and self-centered reason for doing things? Beautiful story, Bobby Decker. Remember it, and hopefully it'll touch your heart and allow you to reflect a little bit on your motivation. Happiness tomorrow for all of us really always, always depends on doing what's right, doing the truth today. Good to be with you. God bless. Looking forward to being with you again.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth, silent night, holy night, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep